Hey guys, Infidel1258 here. Today I want to talk to you about my end of season rewards. So we're going to review 100 and I don't know, might be 125 boxes. Let's have a look in a minute here. But it's 100 and plus from just my end of season. Plus I think I got a daily that we can claim, and they're all champion chests. And so I've been spending, I want to talk while we're opening the packs. I'm going to talk about the cards we're looking at, the SPS we're receiving, the merits. I want to talk about the value of these assets. And I want to continue to articulate my conclusion that I've shared with you before, which is that these assets that we're receiving are worth way more than people give credit for, or that you would assign value to. I always look at something and I say, what's the value, not the price. Soulbound cards have no price, but they have tremendous value because they have utility. They help me win. And one day they'll be transferable. They'll be useful on land. I'll be able to rent them, sell them, whatever I want to do. So I absolutely think they're deeply valuable. And I think that will translate to a price one day that will be tremendous and impressive. But I want to more speak to that. So I'm going to spend a couple minutes after we look at how many chests I've got. I want to spend a couple minutes just explaining why I think, even if there are lots of them, because that's one of the criticisms people say, there's too many. I want to spend a couple minutes explaining why too many or lots is not the end of the world in terms of finding value, finding price appreciation for such assets. So let's check out how many chests we've got, and then we'll get into it. But before we do, my name is Dwayne Cunningham. I go by Infidel1258. Leave comments below. If your comment turns into a video, I'll give you a raffle ticket for a plot of land. Okay. So this season is just recently finished, and let's see, it doesn't show me exactly how many I got, but when we claim, we'll see. I think it was 103 end of season champ chests, and then as you can see, we also have 20 dailies from yesterday that are champ. We'll open those as well, so it's almost, I think it's about 123, 125 and chests to look at here. They're all champion. These could be really, really massive SPS payouts. Like I said, why does one care about these assets? Why does one care about these soulbound reward cards? Like I said, it doesn't matter if there's lots. People say, well, they might be out for 2 years. That'll be too many. There'll be too many of them in the end. There might be double what there is for Chaos Legion. Even if there is, you know, if you look at Chaos Legion legendaries, just as one example, Chaos Legion, monsters, look at legendaries. You know, if you end up getting free cards for playing the game that are, don't look at these ones because they're not quite fully, look at some of these rewards that are now closed. Look at all of these reward cards, right? Yes, all of these 8 reward cards are currently off the market. They can no longer be printed. There's no more coming out. So what if the cards you got, what if these soulbound reward cards ended up having like $1 price point or a 50-cent price point? Would you be bitter and frustrated and disappointed? No, it's a free value that you extracted for your time and attention. So that's one point. Even if it has a smaller than these values value, it's still awesome. It's still amazing. It's still a reward for your time and attention. That's different than every other video game in the world. That's a revolutionary sort of technology and jump forward in video gaming. So that's one point. But then, well, there's too many of them. There will be no desire from them. Wrong. There will be some desire. The desire might not meet your expectation or your hope, but I actually think it'll exceed your hope, because there's also the component of the only cards of the soulbounds that will ever reach the marketplace, because they need to be made transferable, will be those whose their owner actually puts DEC into them. Most people, including bots, I don't know that they're going to do that. Well, probably bots will do it for the purpose of extraction if the value makes sense. If you can put in, let's say, $5 worth of DEC and sell a card for $50, the bot's going to recognize that. The owner of the bots is going to recognize that and make that move. But my point is, not all cards that exist will be made transferable. Therefore, even if the supply, the total possible supply is great, the actual supply on the marketplace will be smaller than that. That's going to imply an effect upon the supply and the demand crunch, creating a higher than expected value. Even if there are double as many as Oceanuses, for instance, in the soulbound legendaries, you have to recognize that there won't be the full supply of those soulbounds exposed to the market. That changes the conversation. Plus, we don't know that they're going to be out for 2 years. So there's lots of reasons why I think the soulbounds carry more value. But one last point on this issue. How big of a number is too big? When we look at Chaos Legion packs, we see 15 million packs. when we talk about rebellion, we can't have that many again. We got to have less. Like that didn't sell, and I don't think so. I think 15 million makes a lot of sense. Plus, they can do the burn sort of deflation at the end there if we absolutely need to. But how many packs is too many packs? I think the thinking here is we need to have a small number of packs because we want to see massive prices on these cards, and I think that's the wrong play, both from like a long-term player sustainability, but also from a new player perspective. If we actually saw, for instance, Chaos Legion cards being released, the actual, not the reward cards, but the actual Chaos Legion cards being released with, say, 1.5 million packs, the prices on these cards would be far greater. That would be interesting for those of you, including myself, who bought tons of Chaos Legion packs, and very terrible for everybody else who wanted to buy a deck and just had no supply to work with. Now we look at land and what that's going to do. We look at tower defense and what that's going to do. And so there has to be more packs than you want, than you think you need. And that's good for us because it enables us to enter into an actual deck of cards that create replayability within the game and fun. So one last thing on this is what number is too big? 15 million? Is 21 million too big? Like if you look at Bitcoin, just imagine Bitcoin as a great example of this. There's 21 million coins. Is that too many or too little? Remember that every Bitcoin can be broken down into all of its splintoshis. And so I think there's 8 zeros behind every Bitcoin. And so is that now too many divisible units? I think the point is there's no real divisible number. There's no finite number that can be too big. It's like, it is what it is, whether it's 1 trillion, 100 million, 10,000. The fact is, whatever finite number you create, it will have a buy and a sell dimension, and the market will decide a value for those assets, whether it's Splintoshis or Chaos Legion cards. And the point then is, it doesn't really matter how many you create. It actually just matters that they be finite. Because if they remain finite, there's only X ever that can be created, and in fact, they will shrink with Chaos Legion cards. They don't stay finite; they actually shrink. But if there is never a new release of the same cards, they will appreciate, even if there are quote unquote too many, because they are limited in number. And even if that number, the value, the price that comes out of them ends up being lower than you might ultimately have desired. Maybe you wanted a $100 card and it ends up being a $50 card. Okay, but still, it's not gonna shrink and shrink and shrink and shrink, as some, I guess, speakers make it seem when they talk about too many cards. There'll never be a desire for them. There'll be better new cards that'll do the same thing. No, there won't. No, there can't. Everything from the way that the old sets are recognized to and appreciated and given better benefit, to the fact that they have unique utility, mana cost, ability sets, synergies, splinter interactions. There's so much uniqueness across every single card that exists in this game. There will never be a place and a time where the cards themselves are irrelevant and you can just totally ignore. Plus, Wild has its own reward pool. And so if you ever want to compete in there, you need to have some of these old cards that some of you guys feel, well, I can just replace that. For instance, you might say, I can just replace the cube with Bakjira. And you think, oh, well, that's good enough. Sure, maybe it's good enough if you're not playing in the Wild. But if you're in the Wild, the cube is an amazing, amazing card, and you need it. So Bakjira also is an amazing card, and in some contexts you need that. But they're not the same card. Water versus neutral. This one has no scavenge. This one has a strengthen and a slow and a void at lower levels, I think. So they're totally different cards, even though they're very similar. And so that's the problem with this logic of there's going to be too many of these assets. And this applies. I'm talking Chaos Legion here, but this totally applies to Soulbounds. And this argument is why I think there's deep value in these cards, even if there's no current price. And it's also why I'm pouring DEC into my energy meter so that I can get more kicks of the can to extract more chests to have daily and season reward claims like this. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. We'll do the dailies first. 20 dailies, and we'll see what we get. We're going to just open them all at a time, and then if there's anything cool and sexy, we'll slow down and we'll talk about that. But okay, so Splinterlands is still thinking. Probably every one of you is trying to claim your rewards right now. So we'll see if we even get to see our end of season the fun, unopened way. Maybe we'll just look at a Splex result situation. But we can look at our Splex results and see that the dailies were pretty substantial. 55 gold foil potions. Love to use those because I absolutely open enough packs to just gobble those things up. And even if I don't in the short term, I will when Rebellion comes. So I just want to stack those things. And then, of course, we get some cards and we got some merits. Let's look at the merits first. 640 merits. Not a huge amount. Battle SPS is, just 12 SPS, I guess, from yesterday. I guess I didn't even know they would count that for me within the dailies, but that makes sense, right? It's part of your daily reward. It's part of how you won or whatever. And then 50 in the chests. This is not a big number. Sometimes one of the reasons why I love spending, or I'm okay with spending DEC on these extra energy so I get more battles is because not just the SPS from every battle, but then the SPS that can come in the chest. You've seen it on Twitter, you've seen it on Discord. Sometimes there's a one chest that gives you hundreds or thousands of SPS. And so the possibility that could happen is, in my opinion, worth chasing after. A few dollars here or there, plus the extra chests with the value of these soulbounds, which I see as being significant. So then let's talk about the cards. So I think I might have needed just one more of the Kulu Mastermind. I love that. I think this card looks great. It's one of the best weapons trainers in the game, in my opinion. You could, because of the opportunity, I don't need to put it in the first position to access that melee damage, and yet it can translate, it can provide its own weapons training ability to another. So you could picture this being in the second position, Bakjir being in the first. You could also put in a melee from any position. You could put the Kulu Mastermind. Beside two, sort of maybe the cube and the Bakjir in the back lines, and suddenly you've got their melee damage output is translatable, is useful from that back line. Plus those massive meat shields. I think that Kulu Mastermind to me is it might be the best weapon trainer. Or at least it's in the conversation. Eternum Brune, I think the highest level I have from any of these summoners is level 5. And so, of course, I'm happy to see more copies of that. These summoners are very powerful. I love the extra gladiator opportunity. This is not my favorite one of all the new summoners, but still. Swamp Spitter is a card I'm really liking, and it is starting to get into a level where I can use it. So this extra 14 will be really enjoyable or possibly useful. Teresa's Grunt, I've been getting several copies of this lately, but it keeps coming in these low numbers. And it's only a common, so that's a little bit surprising. Drybone Barbarian, Gold Foil 5, like that. I think I have him at level 6 or something, Gold Foil, so this might be, another level. Imperial Knight's quite good, actually. He's got self-heal, he's got the Void Armor, he's got huge hit points and armor at higher levels. I like this guy a lot, so I'll be happy when he gets max level for me. And same with Ferox Defender. He's not very functional at the lower levels with my play in my league, but as we get more and more copies, he will start to become useful. So this is good, not great. They call it a $3.50 value. I call it way more than that. I'd say, this legendary is probably going to be worth $10 in the long term. I'd think these summoners are probably going to be worth, I'm going to say probably $5 a BCX in the long term. And then these commons, I would think, in the 25-cent range long term, 10 to 25-cent range. I actually like all of them a lot, except for I don't really know this one super well, but the other ones I happen to know and desire and think are great. So this is it. They don't give me a value. They don't give me a price, but I see a value in these. Let's carry on. Hopefully the end of season chests. Oh, my bot's going. Okay, end of season chest, let's get it. Merits. Pack. Decent SPS, nothing huge. 100 SPS. 10, 18. I'm getting, this is hard to track. I'm not really taking it all in. I'm going to have to slow down. And they just keep going. 22 SPS, 15 SPS, another pack. There's lots of gold foils. I'm honestly not seeing half these cards right now. 22 SPS, 88 SPS. Legendary gold foil, go. No, that's another Kulu. Love it. 15. Gold, like the Century, really like the Century. Okay, I don't know about you, but I did not properly take that in. So let's scroll all the way back up. But as you can see, tons of chests. It felt like a good amount of merits, but let's just scroll through. Okay, this one I really want higher level, and I'm glad to see a big number there, 8. None of these SPS super huge, but okay. Pack, Firecaller, 113 SPS, 10 SPS, 10, 18. This is great. This is 168 SPS. I didn't see that one. 13 over here. More Firecallers, gold foil Firecallers, gold foil Venari Marks Rat. Don't really care about getting this thing super leveled up, I don't think. But at the same time, I'd rather have the gold foil bonus when I do play it. More of the Madcap Maguses. Another pack. Is that 3 packs? 3, 4 packs-ish? Okay. More of these summoners. What's the big one? Puppet. This is a great card, and I really need that thing maxed, I think, but it's not yet close. More Swamp Spitters. Ooh, 5 of the Imperial Knight Gold Foil. Love it. 12 Gobson Bombers. It's amazing. I like how many Swamp Spitters I got this time, as well as Ferox Defenders. The SPS is huge, good number of packs. Those are the takeaways for me. And then again, I got 2 in total. I got 2 of those legendaries from the blue team with the opportunity and the weapons training. Let's go back to Splex and see if we can't see the end of season rewards here. In season 107, I got 241 champion chests and 67 diamonds total, with the value, according to them, of $187. That was last season. That's pretty wild. The battle SPS is huge, $71 with the battle SPS. That's pretty wild. I can't wait to see this summary here. Okay, here we go. End of season chests. End of season reward. $54 worth of value according to them. And that's reflecting the SPS of $17 with 600 SPS in there. 4 packs at $8.40. 4,000 merits, which is 2 more packs. I don't know if they give value to the merits, but still. Ton of amazing reward cards. It's easier to see them summarized like this, isn't it? Raven Hood is going to be a good one. The Protect is so helpful. It's a low mana monster. Love to have it, but it's just not doing anything for me at the level 1. It just can't be. I can't. But now that I got 20 more, that might work. And we got a good amount of potions too. Cool, man. I feel like it's a win. Where's that legendary? There he is, Kulu. Just one. It looks like just one legendary this time around. But some really important gold foils that I'm happy to see. And a good amount of packs. Okay, so again, the game says $57, $58 worth of reward. I'm thinking, you know, in total from one sort of day and 120 chests, I'm thinking it's much more like add $100 to that. I think at least. But maybe that's 2 years away because they are not yet transferable and they won't be for some time. I'm okay with waiting. The question is, do you enjoy the game and do you think it has the future that it will allow it to reach that place where these cards can be made transferable so that you can extract that value? If you do enjoy the game and you think it has that future, then man, I think just enjoy what you're doing, forget about what the price is today, and just collect these assets that no one is taking seriously right now, and be happy that you can stack the rafters with these things because one day they will have value. They will have a price that you can trade for. So that's my view, and I hope this was enjoyable for you. Have an amazing day. God bless.